When I went into labor and died, my husband, Ethan, was celebrating his childhood sweetheart's birthday. They embraced sweetly amidst the cheers of the crowd. While I lay alone on a cold hospital bed, I watched them exchange heartfelt words, reminisce about their youth. Day after day, I was forced to watch it all as a spirit. Later, when someone asked about me, Ethan just frowned and said, "Don't mind her, she just loves to cause drama," until the hospital called him, "Mr. Hayes, please come and collect Mrs. Miller's body," and then, I was reborn, back 7 years, the year before I was supposed to marry him, at the city's first hospital. A baby's cry echoed as the light above the emergency room went out. Chloe Miller wanted to hold her child, but her hand passed right through the incubator, grasping at empty air. So, she was dead, died in childbirth at 7 months pregnant. Just then, the operating room door opened. Her best friend, Ava, rushed in, crying, and screamed at her lifeless body, "You fool, you'd do anything for love, even die for it. You said you would make it." Chloe watched in sorrow. "Ava." No one could hear the voice of a ghost. The doctor handed over the death certificate. "We did everything we could. Please accept our condolences. The family needs to sign." Ava, her eyes red, took the form but didn't sign. Instead, her trembling hand pulled out her phone and dialed a number. "Ethan, Chloe died in childbirth. Come to First Hospital and sign the death certificate." Chloe was stunned. Then she heard the cold, warning tone of the man on the other end. "Hasn't she caused enough trouble? Does she have to ruin Olivia's birthday too? Tell her if she keeps this up, we're getting a divorce." Trouble. Ava's throat tightened, and she broke down. "Ethan, listen to me. Chloe is dead. Your wife is dead." Beep, beep, beep. The line went dead. Chloe once again felt the full force of his cruelty. Just as she had 6 hours ago, she had been at home alone, had fallen, and with her last breath, had called him. "Ethan, my water broke. It hurts so much. Please, come home and take me to the hospital." Before she could finish, a clear voice came from the other end. "Liam, we're about to cut the cake. Who's calling at a time like this?" "No one important." The man's voice was like ice. In that instant, her heart had turned to stone. Her life was on the line, and her husband, the man she had loved for 10 years, wouldn't come to save her, all for a birthday cake with his childhood sweetheart. She was convulsing in pain, and with a last shred of hope, she had pleaded, "If you don't come back, I might die, both of us." But he had delivered the final blow. "Chloe, I've had enough of your drama. If you're going to die, then die quickly." And as he wished, she had died. Wah, wah. The baby's cries pulled her from her memories. She saw Ava push the incubator to her bedside. The tiny baby, no bigger than her palm, was covered in tubes, but he was trying to get closer to her. Perhaps he wanted his mother to hold him. Looking at the tiny bundle, Chloe's spirit trembled. She knelt by the bed, her ghostly form passing through the incubator to touch her baby's tear-streaked face. "Baby, Mommy is so sorry." She wanted so badly to hold him, to comfort him, but she could do nothing. Above her, Ava seemed to sense her presence. "Chloe, I know you're worried about the baby," she whispered, her voice choked. "That's why you couldn't close your eyes." Chloe looked up and saw Ava reach out and gently close the eyes of her lifeless body. "I'll raise him well," she promised. "One word at a time. You can go in peace. In your next life, find someone who will truly love you." As she spoke, Chloe's vision went black, but in the next second, a bright light pierced the darkness. When she opened her eyes, she was in the middle of a crowd, watching as he held Olivia in a passionate kiss. Chloe had thought a spirit couldn't feel pain, but seeing the two of them, she felt a tearing agony. The crowd cheered as they finally broke apart. The tenderness on his face was something she had once had. In the early days of their love, someone in the crowd teased, "Playing a game, and Liam and Olivia end up as the married couple who have to kiss. You two are really fated. They're a perfect match, handsome and beautiful, and from similar backgrounds." Then, someone else chimed in, "Liam, when are you going to divorce Chloe?" The question seemed to have struck a chord with Olivia. She looked at him shyly, but his face suddenly turned cold. "On a happy day like this, let's not talk about irrelevant people." Chloe was floating just a few feet away. His words, spoken without a moment's hesitation, were like a bucket of cold water, chilling her to the bone. Even though they couldn't see her, she was still humiliated. Right, she was irrelevant, a nuisance, and Olivia was his childhood sweetheart, his white moonlight. They were the perfect match. So, for the past 3 years, ever since Olivia had returned, a single phone call was all it took for him to be at her beck and call, like a loyal, obedient dog. And she, the one who had stood by him through his darkest times, had become an obstacle on his path to happiness. The pain in her heart was unbearable. Chloe couldn't stay any longer. She turned to leave, but as she reached the door, an invisible force pulled her back, right in front of him. After that, no matter what she did, she couldn't move more than 10 meters away from him. For a whole month, she was forced to follow them, to watch their love story unfold. He was so good to Olivia. Love, money, whatever she wanted, he would give her. Just because she had said she wanted to see the ocean, he had immediately bought a yacht and taken her out to sea. The Aegean Sea, under the blue sky, sparkled like a sapphire. It was said that couples who came here would be blessed with a lifetime of love. 5 years ago, she had wanted to come here with him. What had he said then? Chloe, when I've rebuilt the Hayes Corporation, I promise I'll travel the world with you. Now, he had rebuilt his empire, but he was with someone else. In this whole month, he hadn't thought of her once. Chloe stood under a palm tree, looking at the familiar back of the man, her eyes burning with a raw pain. Just then, a pregnant woman walked by on the beach. The sight seemed to have inspired the romantic couple. She heard Olivia ask, "Liam, I accidentally overheard you on the phone with Miss Miller, talking about a divorce. Did you two have a fight? She's due soon, right? Why don't you give her a call? Be the bigger person, be the bigger person." Chloe shook her head. Impossible. In their 7 years together, even when he was in the wrong, he had never once backed down. Floating over to him, she saw him glance at his phone. There were no missed calls or texts from her. The screen was clean. This time, would he be happy that she was being quiet and sensible? But then she heard him sneer. A kidney failure invalid who can't do anything for herself. If she really had the guts to divorce me, I'd actually be impressed. His casual, dismissive words, kidney failure invalid, hit her like a ton of bricks. She stared at his heartless face and staggered back. She had once been healthy. Her mind flashed back to the hardest years with him. The Hayes Corporation had gone bankrupt. His parents had been driven to suicide. The creditors were relentless. To protect him, she had been beaten, her leg broken. He needed to secure investors, but he was allergic to alcohol. To take his place at the dinners, she had drunk, glass after glass, until she had a perforated stomach. Even her kidney failure, it was because of him. Her body had been completely broken down, but she had never imagined that in the end, all she would get was kidney failure invalid. Her spirit wavered. She pressed her hand to her heart. It wasn't beating, but it still ached. No matter how hard she pressed, the pain wouldn't go away. Liam, Liam, she screamed with all her might, a torrent of grievances, but no one could hear her. When Chloe finally recovered, she found that he had driven home alone. The housekeeper, Mrs. Gable, greeted him. "Master, you're back." He glanced past her, and when he didn't see a familiar, frail figure, he rubbed his temples in frustration. Where is she? Is she still throwing a tantrum? Chloe stood beside him, numb, once again understanding his cruelty. She had been dead for a month, and he still thought she was just being difficult. Was he still waiting for her to apologize? Mrs. Gable was surprised. "Madam hasn't been home all month. You don't know where she is." As if she couldn't take it anymore, she added, "I was on leave a month ago. Madam was home alone. I heard something happened. The ambulance was even called. Why don't you call her? She's sick, and pregnant." It's not easy for her. But the more she spoke, the darker his face became. He loosened his tie and stormed upstairs. What could have happened to her? "I provide for her every need." What's so not easy? She knew she only had one kidney, but she still insisted on getting pregnant. If something really happened, she brought it on herself. Mrs. Gable looked embarrassed and didn't say anything more, and he stomped up the stairs, as if he were holding in a great deal of anger. Chloe was forced to follow him upstairs, into the master bedroom. The moment they entered, they saw a photo album on the floor. Beside it was a torn photo of him and Olivia from high school. His expression immediately darkened. He snatched up the album and opened it. The slots where the photos should have been were all empty. "Chloe, you've really outdone yourself." He gritted his teeth, the frustration he had been holding in finally finding an outlet. Chloe looked at the torn photo, a strange feeling in her heart. She couldn't remember her state of mind when she had torn it. Tearing the photo, it was probably the only time she had ever expressed her dissatisfaction with him. But this would not end well. As expected, he immediately dialed a number. The screen displayed her name, Chloe. The moment the call connected, he started yelling, "Where are the pictures of me and Olivia from the album? Chloe, you can't stand her, can you? If you don't bring them back, you can come back and get a divorce." Perhaps because she was so close to him, His rage was a physical force, making her stumble. The last bit of affection she had for him was being burned away. There was no answer on the other end. His patience was wearing thin. Speak. Are you playing dead? Dead. A sarcastic voice came from the other end. It was Ava. Mr. Hayes, you have a short memory. Didn't I call you a month ago to sign the death certificate? As you wished. Chloe is dead. He was stunned for a moment, then let out a derisive laugh. Is she ever going to stop with her games? Is she trying to scare me to death? Tell her if she's going to die, she'd better bring the pictures back first. Chloe is dead. She's dead. How is she supposed to bring them back? Ava suddenly broke down, screaming into the phone. Liam, be a decent human being. Your wife is dead, and you're still worried about your pictures with Olivia. Chloe listened to her friend's hoarse screams, knowing she was fighting for her, because Ava knew everything she had done for him. That's enough. Put Chloe on the phone. This is between me and her. You have no right to interfere. His face was dark, the veins on his hand bulging as he gripped the phone, but Ava hung up, hearing the dial tone. He threw the phone. Bang. It hit the floor and bounced, passing right through her ghostly form. She didn't move, just watched the furious man. For years, he had never been defied in matters concerning her, so this time, he was enraged, out of control. As he slammed the door and left, his face was almost contorted. Chloe, if you have the guts, then stay dead and never come back. This time, she moved. She clenched her fists slightly, lowered her head, and whispered, "Okay." The rest of the story follows a similar trajectory, detailing the main character's experiences as a spirit bound to her husband, her rebirth, and her eventual decision to leave him and his toxic relationship with his first love. The English version below is a full translation of the provided text, including the events that occur after her rebirth. Full English translation of 01 TXT. When I went into labor and died, my husband, Liam, was celebrating his childhood sweetheart's birthday. They embraced sweetly amidst the cheers of the crowd. While I lay alone on a cold hospital bed, I watched them exchange heartfelt words, reminisce about their youth. Day after day, I was forced to watch it all as a spirit. Later, when someone asked about me, Liam just frowned and said, "Don't mind her, she just loves to cause drama," until the hospital called him. "Mr. Hayes, please come and collect Mrs. Miller's body." And then, I was reborn, back 7 years, the year before I was supposed to marry him. Honey, please, just let us be happy. I really love her. She's the first person who's ever made my heart flutter. At the dinner table, my husband, Sean, was vividly describing his secret romance with the new female assistant at his company, a blissful smile on his face. He was completely oblivious to my feelings, his wife of 10 years, afraid I would refuse. He even knelt before me, his eyes full of a sincere plea. "Please, just let us be together. I'll die without her. We're truly in love. We just met too late. She's completely different from you. All you care about is the family and the kids. But she understands all my likes and habits. We're a perfect match." I listened to his words, fighting back the tears. What he was saying was so laughable. If I hadn't been working so hard at home, would he have been able to have his little love affair? And now he was complaining about me. And now, to get me to agree to his relationship with another woman, he was even kneeling. It was clear he had no respect for me at all. I didn't know whether to praise him for his audacity or to curse him for his foolishness. The girl he was in love with, I had seen her a few times when I had brought him lunch at the office. With my experience, I could tell she wasn't the type to work her way up honestly. Though she looked pure and innocent, her eyes were full of calculation. In less than a month, she had stepped over everyone to become the president's assistant. Her methods were clearly impressive. I had had her transferred several times, but the next time I went to the office, she was back at her post, even giving me a pure, innocent, and provocative smile. He had said she understood him, that with her, his work went smoothly. After I had our child, I had devoted all my time to our family, had been out of the workforce for years. I had given him my complete trust, believing he would never betray me and our son, so I hadn't bothered with this trivial matter. But I never expected that in less than 2 months, she would have successfully taken my place. I really didn't know whether to be angry at his betrayal or at his foolishness. After a moment of silence, I said, my face cold and serious, "Are you sure you want to give up our family and our child for this woman?" He looked at me, without a hint of hesitation, and pleaded, "She really understands me. I've never met a girl who is so in tune with my soul. Please, just let us be." Hearing his irresponsible reply, I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. I had been in the business world for many years, And I was no longer young. I never thought I would be dealing with a man who was as lovesick as a teenager. Fine. His heart is no longer here. There's no point in holding on. Why not just let him go? A divorce is fine. I get our son. At this, his smile froze. This company belongs to my father. If you want a divorce, you leave with nothing, I said, wiping my tears, my voice calm and composed. Those are my two conditions. If you don't agree, I won't agree to a divorce. You can think about it. No, our son is ours. Why should he go with you? His joy instantly turned to anger. And I've worked so hard for the company for years. You've just been sitting at home, doing nothing. Why should the company belong only to you? Doing nothing. I glared at him in disbelief. If I hadn't given up my career to take care of this family, do you think you would be in this position? The company belongs to my father. If you want a divorce, you leave with nothing. Otherwise, no deal. Hearing my reply, he finally realized that he was the one at fault for cheating. His voice immediately softened. The assets, you can have them. I'm confident that with my abilities, I can make a comeback even without your stupid company. But the child, he has to come with me. At this, I laughed. No wonder he couldn't outsmart a young girl. He was all brawn and no brains. After a few years as a company president, he hadn't learned a thing. If it weren't for my father's hard work, which had led to his current success, did he really think starting a company was as easy as just saying it? He looked at me with a guilty expression and continued, Liam is 9 years old. Can't you just let him choose? I nodded in agreement. Fine. Let the child choose for himself. I couldn't believe it. I was the one who had taken care of our son's every need. Would he really choose his cheating father? Just then, Liam came home from school. I was trying to think of a gentle way to tell him, but his father rushed over and said, bluntly, son, your mother and I are getting a divorce. I'm going to marry Miss Ava. Who do you want to be with? I rolled my eyes, about to scold him for being so insensitive, but my son's cheerful voice cut me off. Miss Ava, is it that Miss Ava? I was surprised, and then I realized, he had been taking our son to see that woman behind my back. Yes, he said, a sweet smile on his face. It's that Miss Ava. Are you and mommy getting a divorce? Liam's face was full of a happy smile. He even started to jump up and down in front of me. That's great. I want to be with Daddy and Miss Ava. Mommy is old and ugly, and she's always nagging me, and she doesn't even make any money, just sits at home doing nothing. She's so annoying. I don't want to be with her. At this, my heart turned completely to ice. Fine. This ungrateful child. I've raised him for nothing. Then I'll just let them go. I don't care anymore. They can do whatever they want. I immediately called my assistant to tear up the divorce papers and then threw them in his face. Fine. Let's get a divorce right now. This ungrateful son and the house and car we're living in, you can have them. As soon as you sign, I'm out of here. Let's see if your little girlfriend is still willing to be with you when you have no money. He took the pen and, without a moment's hesitation, signed his name. As he signed, he threw a threat at me. Don't think you're so great just because you have a little money. If it weren't for me, would the company be so successful? Without me, your company will go bankrupt. And when it does, don't you come crying to me to take it back. I had no time for his bickering. I immediately packed my things and went with my assistant to the new luxury apartment I had just bought. 10 years of not knowing who he really was. I accept it. I'll consider those 10 years of my youth a gift to you. As for my feelings, I can pick them up, and I can certainly put them down. At the apartment, I quickly unpacked. The spacious apartment. I was living here all by myself. No kids to take care of, no housework. It was amazing. That's what I thought. But when the emotions hit me at night, I was still very sad. We had lived together for over 10 years. I had come to see him as family, but now, I had been betrayed by the two people I trusted most. Fine, I won't think about it. No one can't live without anyone else. I believe that time will heal all wounds. That life will get better. The next day, after taking over the company's affairs, the first thing I did was to fire all the connections he had brought in. The old employees, though they didn't know what had happened between us, agreed with my decision. After getting the company in order, I was on my way home from work when I was stopped by his mistress, Ava. I looked at the girl, who was smiling so innocently, and felt a wave of annoyance. I hadn't even gone after her, and she had the nerve to come and find me. I had really underestimated her. Good morning, sis. Ava had a pure smile on her face, and she looked at me with a provocative expression. I heard you and the president got a divorce. Shouldn't the asset division be a little more fair? I looked at her and smiled. So she was after the money. He was a lovesick fool, but she wasn't. She was very clear about what she wanted. It was always about the money, but a mistress coming to the wife to demand a share of the assets. This was a first for me. She really had a thick skin. I gave her a fake smile. So, she looked at me with an innocent expression. So, you have so much money, shouldn't you have a fair division with him? I smiled. And what does that have to do with you? The divorce isn't even finalized yet. In what capacity are you talking to me about this? Of course, it has to do with me. She held up the ring on her hand, a triumphant look on her face, because we're about to get engaged. How much he gets is very important to me. After all, I'm going to be taking your place, taking care of your husband and your child. How can I do that without money? You've been married for 10 years, a relationship of over a decade. It's not right to give him so little. I stared at her pure, calculating face and smiled. Then what do you think is a fair amount? She made a thinking gesture, then recited, as if she had memorized it. He's divorced and has a child, so all the company shares must go to him. And your luxury apartment, that should all be his too. That's fair. As for you, you can have the car and the old house you lived in. It still has his scent. If you ever miss him, if you ever feel like crying, you can go and smell it. Pfft. At this, I couldn't help but laugh. Her calculations, they were so blatant. Did she think I was as stupid as him? I had no time to waste on this airhead. I was about to go inside when she grabbed my arm. Sis, you can't just leave your husband and child with nothing after a divorce. That's not right, Pa. I looked at her pretentious face and couldn't take it anymore. I spat in her face. Do you even know what's right and what's wrong? Seducing an old man and ruining someone's family. Is that right? At your age, instead of learning something useful, you're just doing all this trashy, sleeping, your way, to the top stuff. I think you're not just immoral and cheap, you're also stupid. You want that dead man. You can have him. But if you think you're getting a single penny of my money, you can forget about it. She frantically wiped her face in disgust, yelling and glaring at me. You crazy woman. Don't think I can't get the money without you. You're not going to be able to enjoy your life with that money. If you don't give me the money, you can just wait for a lawsuit. Fine. I turned and looked at her, a smile on my lips. If that's how you want to play it, then I won't get a divorce. I'll legally take back every penny he spent on you, including but not limited to the villa he bought for you. Women, they all get old one day. Maybe one day he'll meet a young, shameless woman just like you and dump you. People, they should not be too greedy. You, at my words. She was so angry her face turned green. Ava, let me tell you, I'm not in a hurry. Let's see who can last longer. Maybe in less than 6 months, he'll dump you for another woman. With that, I was about to close the door when she grabbed my wrist again. I had had enough. I slapped her across the face. She stumbled back, and just as she was about to fall, he, who had just arrived, caught her. A look of pity on his face as he held her tightly. Audrey, have you not caused enough trouble? I've already told you it was my own problem. Why are you bullying her? He roared at me, and she fell into his arms, crying pitifully. Honey, I was just worried that you would get too little in the divorce, and you have a child to raise, so I just wanted to ask her if she could give you a little more. I never thought she would humiliate me like this. Sob sob, baby, don't cry, don't cry. He held her in his arms and comforted her gently. I couldn't help but laugh. I always knew you were good at seducing people, but I never knew you were so good at changing your face. You should have been an actress. Miss, that's enough. If it weren't for the fact that you're Liam's mother, I would have killed you long ago. You shrew. I feel sick just looking at you. Divorcing you is a matter of time. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Even without you, I can support Liam on my own. We can start over. You can just wait for your stupid company to go bankrupt and eat dirt. With that, he carried her away, and she made a face at me, a triumphant smile on her face. That money, I'll just consider it a donation to you. You'll regret this. I watched them, laughing hysterically. I wonder who will be the one to regret it in the end. Let's see who has the last laugh. Without the kids and the family to take care of, I was living a very carefree life. Though I had been out of the workforce for a few years, I had grown up in a family of business people. I had learned a lot from my father and grandfather, and I was a natural at it. The major shareholders, probably out of respect for my father, were very good to me, and I was signing contracts left and right. And I heard that on his side, he and his little girlfriend had taken out $1 million loan to start a company. When we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get the divorce certificate, he was holding her hand and taunting me. Without me, your stupid company will go bankrupt. He looked at me with contempt. And when it does, don't you come crying to me to take it back. She was hiding behind him, covering her mouth and snickering. A woman like her, who only knows how to take care of a family. What does she know about running a company? I bet it will be bankrupt in 3 days. I advise you, if you know what's good for you, to transfer the shares to him before the divorce is finalized. Maybe if we're in a good mood, we'll give you a little of the profits. Audrey, if you're not sensible, don't you come crying to us later. I listened to their delusional ramblings and found it amusing, but I just said flatly, you're starting a company. Well, congratulations. You don't have to worry about my company. You should worry about yourselves. Just sign the papers. I'm in a hurry. They cursed me for being ungrateful. I didn't waste my breath on them. After signing, I left. After the divorce, he quickly married her. She was so happy, holding him, and was full of expectations for her future life as a rich wife. I wasn't interested in their drama. Without the burden of a family, I went back to work. The company's business was booming, much better than before, and I would periodically give my employees bonuses and benefits to reward them for their hard work and to motivate them to work even harder. Everyone was happy after getting their bonuses, and they were more motivated at work. The projects were all ahead of schedule. I worked hard, and when I had free time, I would travel, go shopping. Life was just too good. Just as I was thinking I would never have to see those two again, we met. That day, I was in a hurry to get back for a contract negotiation. My assistant told me that a small company was competing with us. At first, I was a little worried that they would snatch the contract, but when I walked in and saw him and her, I was no longer worried. They were just a start up, and with his work ethic, it was a question of whether the company would even survive. How could they compete with me? When I walked in, I heard him talking to the other party. The other party was frowning. I smiled, composed myself, and then walked in with confidence. I'm sorry, Mr. Chen, I'm late. When they saw me, their faces turned green. The other party saw me and immediately stood up, holding out his hand. Miss Audrey, long time no see, long time no see. I smiled and shook his hand, then sat down to his left. Mr. Chen, if you have any concerns, why don't we sign a guarantee agreement? The other party looked at me, then at him, and hesitated. Aren't you two from the same company? I replied calmly and composedly, we're divorced. He cheated on me with his assistant. Hearing my blunt reply, he was so angry his face turned green. She was beet red. Oh, so they do have some shame. I thought they had none. Hearing this piece of gossip, the other party was shocked, but as a seasoned businessman, he quickly composed himself. I knew something was strange. So your shameless ex-husband was trying to use your name to sign a contract with me. I almost lost a fortune. I smiled. I got here just in time, didn't I? We've been partners for many years, since my father's time. I would never do anything to harm you. Of course. Mr. Chen stroked his chin and, with a kind smile, reminded me, you should probably let all your partners know, so you don't get taken advantage of by some people. As he spoke, he glanced at the two of them. I knew what he was getting at and just smiled. And on the side, he, who had never been so humiliated before, had been holding on to his pride for so long. Before, with the respect all the partners had for my father, signing contracts had been a breeze. Now, faced with this situation, he clearly couldn't take it anymore. He glared at me, and then hurried out with her. I watched their pathetic retreat and smiled. After signing the contract with the other party, I was about to leave when I was suddenly blocked by her. I looked at her with amusement and a fake smile. May I ask what you two are doing? Squatting in front of my car, he shot up and rushed at me, raising his hand to slap me, but I caught his wrist. Audrey, you did this on purpose, didn't you? What did I do on purpose? I smiled at him. Winning a contract is all about skill, isn't it? You said you were so capable, Mr. Big President. How have you fallen so low as to use such despicable means to compete with me for a small contract? His face was green, his fists clenched tighter and tighter. So, you just saw that I was interested in this contract, and you snatched it, right? Yes, I admitted freely. So what? Before a contract is signed, everyone has a chance to compete. You didn't get it. Who's to blame? He was furious, but she, on the side, was much calmer. She took his arm and said, with an understanding tone, if we didn't get this contract, there will be another one. Our Sean is so talented. We don't need these two contracts. But you were married, after all. To do such a thing, it's really disgusting. I listened to her delusional ramblings and couldn't help but laugh. And you have the audacity to lecture me. Business is about competition, not about selling your body to seduce someone, like you did. I'm sorry, I'm not capable of such filthy things. Perhaps because I had said such a thing about his beloved girl. He was furious. How dare you say that about her? I think you're just jealous. She's a highlight in any crowd. I fell for her and chose to be with her. What does that have to do with her? How dare you say that about her? Even though I did you wrong, I left you the assets. What more do you want? You're not happy unless you're insulting her. Are you? I looked at her, who was crying pitifully in his arms, and couldn't help but laugh. Please, I didn't cause her any trouble. She was the one who came to me, begging to be beaten. Sean, you should just enjoy it. This pure, innocent flower. She's not as simple as you think. With that, I didn't care about their reactions. I just got in the passenger seat and drove away. I started to get used to my life alone, to forget the hurt he had caused me. But sometimes, when I thought about it, I would still feel a little sad. People are not made of stone. If I couldn't get over it right away, then I would just let time heal me. I don't know when the news of his affair got out. Maybe it was the partner from last time. The whole company was abuzz. When the employees looked at me, their eyes were filled with a mixture of pity and respect. And his reputation was getting worse and worse. The company hadn't signed a single contract recently, and the stock had plummeted. Those old colleagues, they were probably only dealing with him because of me. No matter what he offered, they wouldn't partner with him. They said he had a character problem. He, with no other choice, had to rely on loans to maintain a semblance of stability. I had no time for their drama. I had decided to put the past behind me and start over. But one day, I accidentally ran into her, cheating on him with another rich kid. I watched as the two of them embraced, kissing passionately, the man's hand even slipping under her skirt. It seems that after he, her sugar daddy, was no longer viable, she had very quickly found a replacement, and I had thought their love was so great. I took out my phone and secretly filmed it all, then anonymously sent it to the rich kid's wife. I had done my part. Whether she believed it or not, that was up to her. When a woman is in love, even with the evidence right in front of her, she will still choose to believe her man's lies, to deceive herself. In the middle of their passionate kiss, she saw me, and her face turned green, and I, looking at her, waved my phone, a smile on my lips, and then left. Not long after, she chased after me and demanded, "Were you following me? This is a public place. Only you are allowed to be here." She was so angry she was speechless. This one is my true love. I was young and stupid back then. Your husband, you can have him back. Let's just call it even, she said to me, with a hint of a plea. As long as you don't expose me, I'll divorce him immediately. It was the first time I had ever seen a look of fear on her face. I found it amusing. I'm sorry, I don't take back trash. With that, I left, leaving her standing there, stunned. I thought that would be the end of it. But that evening, on my way home from work, I was knocked out from behind and thrown into a car. Blood trickled into my eyes. I struggled, but it was useless. I passed out. When I woke up again, I was tied to a pillar in an abandoned building. Less than 2 meters away was a 10-story drop. I was so scared my face turned pale. I unconsciously tried to scoot back, but I couldn't move. Ha 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 ha. A woman's sinister laugh filled my ears. I looked up and saw her, a triumphant smile on her face. Didn't expect this, did you? You meddled in my business. Are you regretting it now? As long as I kill you, you won't be able to expose my secret. That way, I can get your company's assets and be with the man I love. It's a perfect plan, but before that, you'll have to suffer a little. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been able to handle you on my own. You should be grateful. I'm letting you live a little longer. With that, a dirty-looking man emerged from a corner, a lewd smile on his face. You just enjoy it. When you're done, he'll send you to heaven. With that, she threw her head back and laughed, watching the man approach me. I was so scared my face turned pale. I wanted to back away, but I couldn't move. As the man got closer, a foul stench filled my nose. The moment he untied me, my heart was in my throat. No, I can't let this bastard defile me. I saw my chance. This was probably my best chance to escape. Though I didn't know if I would succeed, I had to try. I would rather die than be defiled by him. Before the man could pounce on me, I fought back with all my might, kicking him to the ground. Then, with all my strength, I ran for the stairs. She heard the commotion and, when she turned and saw that I had escaped, she ran over and kicked the man, furious. You useless piece of trash. You can't even handle one woman. The two of them chased after me. I ran with all my might, but by the time I reached the 5th floor, I was exhausted. Watching the man get closer and closer, my adrenaline surged. With my last bit of strength, I ran, but the difference in our strength was too great. In a matter of seconds, He had caught up to me and grabbed my hair. "Run, go on, run," he roared. "You should save your strength. You'll need it for screaming later." I refused to accept this fate and fought back with all my might. Seeing that I was not going down without a fight, she immediately came to help. Just as she was about to rush at me, I fought back with all my might, biting down on the man's hand. Only when his hand was bleeding profusely did he curse and let go of me. I took the opportunity and ran for my life. Suddenly, I heard a loud crash from downstairs. I looked down and saw the man lying in a pool of blood, on the verge of death. I turned my head and looked at her in disbelief. She was looking at her own hands, in a daze, muttering, "I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him. He fell on his own." Suddenly, she looked at me with a fierce glare. "It's all you. It's all because of you. The beautiful life I had worked so hard for. I won't let you destroy it. As long as I kill you, no one will know what I did. I was only supposed to kill you. It's because you ran that I accidentally killed him. So it's all your fault." Crazy. She's definitely crazy. I ran for my life, but I accidentally tripped on a stone. A steel bar scraped my ankle, and blood gushed out. Watching her get closer and closer, I wanted to get up, but I couldn't move. Just as her iron rod was about to come down on me, I closed my eyes in despair. I thought I was going to die, but at that moment, I heard a powerful voice behind me. "Don't move. Put your hands up." Clang. The iron rod fell to the ground. I opened my eyes and saw the police, and the woman behind the police officer. I cried with relief. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my voice choked with tears. "How did you find me?" "I tracked you with your location," she said, shaking her phone. "Thank you for sending me the message to be wary of this bitch. I was just going to come and beat her up, but I never expected to see such a horrific scene." At this, I finally understood, and I was so grateful for that one act of kindness, which had saved my life. "So, your relationship now." Sigh. She let out a long sigh. "Too many financial interests are tied up. I can't get a divorce right now."